As we journey through life, there comes a time when we start to notice something curious. The smaller moments, the ones we once overlooked, start to matter more than the grand ones. These small experiences, which may have once been ignored or brushed aside in favor of something bigger, begin to take on a significance that we can no longer ignore. The feel of sunlight on your face during a morning walk, the warmth of a simple meal shared with someone you love, or the fleeting sound of birds chirping on a quiet afternoon. These things, once seen as trivial, now seem to hold deeper meaning. It's as though the richness of life becomes magnified, not by the grand achievements or flashy experiences we once craved, but by these humble, everyday moments. It's a strange shift that comes gradually, almost imperceptibly. When we are younger, we often chase after achievements, higher education, career success, and thrilling experiences, believing that these are the markers of a meaningful life. But with time, this pursuit begins to feel empty. The excitement of achieving a goal, the rush of meeting a deadline, or even the thrill of a new adventure can start to fade. What once seemed like the ultimate dream becomes, ironically, a source of dissatisfaction. The more we reach for these big goals, the more we realize they do not bring lasting contentment. Instead, what we find is a longing for something simpler. We begin to realize that joy isn't found in a checklist of external accomplishments, but in the quiet beauty of the moments in between, the ones we once thought weren't worth noticing. There comes a point, often triggered by pain or loss, where this shift becomes undeniable. The more we experience life's challenges, whether through personal loss, career setbacks, or emotional hardship, the more we start to appreciate what remains constant and true. It is through difficulty and hardship that we begin to recognize that the simple moments, the ones we once took for granted, hold the real treasures of life. What once seemed like fleeting, unimportant events now stand out as the only things that matter. In the face of struggle, it is these simple pleasures that provide us with solace. They are what endure when everything else fades away. The simple moments, a friend's smile, the sound of rain against a window, the soft touch of a loved one's hand. These are the things that truly make life rich. As we begin to understand the value of these smaller, quieter moments, something else begins to happen. We start to see life through a new lens. The things we once overlooked become sources of deep joy. A quiet evening at home, once considered uneventful, is now an opportunity to reconnect with ourselves and those we care about. A walk in the park, previously a mundane activity, becomes a source of inspiration. The way the light shifts during different times of the day, the way the air feels before it rains, and the way people interact in the simplest of ways. All of these things start to become a reminder of life's beauty. But this shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and often comes after a period of emotional upheaval or hardship. During our younger years, we are often so consumed with ambition and external validation that we fail to notice these simple moments. We think that joy and meaning lie in external achievements, in the things we can show off to the world. We place our value in accomplishments, thinking that only when we make it will we be truly fulfilled. However, as life progresses, we come to realize that these grand achievements bring little lasting joy. They offer fleeting happiness that quickly fades. In contrast, the simple moments don't fade. They don't require accolades or recognition. They don't need to be special to be meaningful. They are meaningful simply because they exist. And the more we experience life's challenges, the more we come to cherish these moments. We begin to see them as sources of stability in a world that can often feel chaotic and unpredictable. They are the moments that remind us that even in the hardest of times, there is beauty and peace to be found. Not in grand gestures, but in the small, everyday occurrences that we used to overlook. The realization that simplicity holds the key to happiness doesn't come easily. For many, it's only after enduring great pain or loss that we begin to understand the value of life's simpler pleasures. When we experience emotional trauma, whether through heartbreak, loss, or a personal crisis, we are forced to confront our vulnerability. In those moments, the things that once seemed insignificant begin to take on greater importance. A comforting hug from a friend, a quiet evening spent with loved ones, or even just the stillness of a peaceful afternoon becomes sources of healing. Pain has a way of sharpening our focus, of helping us see what truly matters. When we are in the throes of grief or sadness, the things that once seemed ordinary, the warmth of a cup of tea, the sound of leaves rustling in the wind, the sight of a flower blooming, these things become reminders that life, despite its challenges, is still beautiful. They offer us a way to ground ourselves when everything else feels uncertain. They give us something to hold on to, something to remind us that life continues, even in the face of difficulty. It's in these moments of stillness that we can begin to heal. The quiet moments, the ones that once felt insignificant, now have the power to restore us. We learn that joy isn't about achieving something monumental. It's about being present in the simple, everyday moments that make life meaningful. And as we heal, we begin to appreciate these moments more fully. The more we focus on them, the more we find ourselves appreciating life in ways we never did before. As we grow older, there comes a time when we begin to see that life's true richness doesn't come from the grand achievements or the wild adventures we once chased with so much passion. Instead, it's the simple, quiet moments that provide us with lasting happiness and fulfillment. In the rush of our younger years, we often find ourselves pursuing success, looking for the next big thing, striving for recognition and external validation. However, as time passes and our experiences accumulate, we come to realize that those grand pursuits, while important, don't have the power to sustain us. It is the moments of stillness, the intimate connections, and the quiet pleasures that truly fill our hearts. A dinner with family or a warm cup of coffee shared with a close friend, a leisurely walk in the woods or the sound of a loved one's laughter echoing in the room. These are the experiences that, over time, weave the fabric of a life well lived. When we learn to embrace these small, everyday moments, we find that a deeper sense of fulfillment begins to take root. There is no longer the constant need to chase after the next big achievement, the next adventure, or the next source of excitement. The frenetic energy that once drove us begins to settle, and in its place, we discover an enduring peace. The beauty of life isn't in the number of accolades or milestones we reach, but in the simple pleasures we allow ourselves to experience. It's in the moments we once overlooked or dismissed, the time spent with a loved one on a quiet evening, the moments of reflection during a solitary walk, or the calm before the storm of the day. These quiet moments, though small, become the steady rhythm that sustains us, providing solace when the world feels heavy or chaotic. In the end, it is these small, often overlooked moments, the ones that we tend to dismiss as trivial or unimportant, that bring us the greatest joy. As we look back on our lives, we come to realize that true happiness isn't defined by the things we accumulate or the accolades we achieve, but by how we experience life in its simplest form. Happiness lies in the quiet connection between two people, in the peaceful silence of a sunset, in the warmth of a shared meal, and in the simple contentment of being present in the moment. It's not the grand achievements or the milestones that make life meaningful, but the small, everyday experiences that create a sense of purpose and contentment. These are the moments that fill us with peace, comfort, and gratitude. And as we learn to live in this way, it becomes clear. These simple pleasures are not just fleeting distractions, but the very essence of a rich, fulfilling life. It is in these moments, more than any grand success or achievement, that we find the meaning we have been seeking all along. We come to understand that life's richness isn't measured by what we have or what we've done, but by the depth of our connection to the world around us and to the people we love. In the quiet, mundane moments, we discover a deeper understanding of ourselves and the beauty of life as it is, simple, imperfect, and full of meaning.